Okay, so this is my reflection for our poverty project. Um, so starting out with what I did, I helped with finding the apartment um, right when this got started, looking for the apartments. Um, I helped do the taxes. That was one thing that actually I tried to get um, my friend, my mom's friend who does taxes, try to get some deals and ask her for advice of how to best deal with taxes and that sort of thing. Um, but most recently, what I've been doing is dealing with the food, coming up with a food budget specifically. Um, and that's something that, as a teenager, um, is part of my life every day. I eat lots of food, um, and it's not really anything more than an afterthought of how it gets there. I occasionally will go into the store and run some errands for my parents to buy food, but I never think about a budget, so to speak. I just kind of get what I want, and I put it on my parents' card. Um, which is something this project has really kind of made me realize, like, hey, if you are on a budget, if you only have $700 to spend a month on food, you really got to be careful what you spend, and what really your priorities for food are. And the first time we went through on the Safeway website, um, and bought our food, uh, we only had I only had about $400 worth of stuff on there, and I thought, hey, I think this is about good for a month. And then I went home and talked to my parents about it and asked them, what was our budget, and I asked them, is $400 a month for a family of four enough to sustain us, to get us by? And they told me pretty much no. And I really kind of thought about it a little bit more, rather than just, oh, let's get two of these, let's get one of these. I thought about, well, if I'm in this situation, what do I need to get in order to feed my family? And so I went back and I kind of cut some things out, um, and put in some other things. So things I cut out, we had originally like 5 different types of juice, and we had all sorts of stuff. That was kind of just, we got it because it was there, because we wanted like variety, um, but it didn't really work out. When I look back and over the food budget, it didn't seem like we had enough of like the core stuff. So I went back and I bought a couple bags of just frozen chicken, big huge bags of frozen chicken breasts, which I know my family uses a lot. That's whenever we have chicken, it's usually we have this big bag of chicken. We got some rice, a 20-pound bag of rice, which I think that's going to be good for a month, if we don't eat it all too much. And I went back and picked out a lot of different meats and tried to get a good variety and not get like the worst, the hoof cut, but I wanted to get stuff that is good, but it's in our price range. And after kind of tweaking it a few times, I came up with a budget that's about $700, which is what we were aiming for. And it's stuff that it'll feed us the whole month, I'm pretty sure. And we still have we have about 30 bucks of leeway to get more if we need. And then there are a few things that we'll only need to buy once, like a broom. But anyway, just that whole part of it was really kind of eye-opening about how much a month you have to spend on just food alone. $700 for a family of four. That's a lot of food for a month. But then just in general, this whole project, we picked a pretty high amount, I think, for the class. But even with $43,000 a year, we're still struggling, and as Austin said, we had to cut out our phones for 6 months, which is something that people tend to say they need in this day and age. And so that's just an example of when you're not doing so well with money, when you're a little bit below what you want to be with your income, you have to make some hard decisions about what you need and what you don't need. And if we kept the phones, we would have been significantly, well, maybe not significantly, but we would have had a fair amount of debt just from the phone bills, which again is something you don't really take into account, but when you go and you try to figure that out, when you look at it and plan it out for a year, you realize how much money goes into just paying for phones and stuff. So that was something that really kind of opened my eyes, not even just about poverty, but just about life, about providing for a family, is how much money actually goes into everything. And I take a lot of stuff for granted. Just the internet, cable. I have a crappy phone, but it's a phone, and it does all the stuff that a phone is supposed to do, and a little bit more. And so you kind of overlook that. But I know this project just helped me out with seeing what it's like in real life. And then when you put into the picture like the actual, the poverty and what this is supposed to be about, how, what is the level that we should cut off before someone needs government aid. And $43,000 at the beginning of the year, I thought, $43,000 for a family of four, that should be, any family should be able to do that. That's not, that's a lot of money extra. And when we first came up with the budget, like the very first rough draft, I think we had a significant amount left over. But then when you get down to all like the little stuff, you realize $43,000 is not that much money. And even with $43,000, we have a pretty good apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. But it's not in like the most affluent neighborhood. It's in a good neighborhood, but it's not. It's a lower income neighborhood. It really, a lot of the people, I know a lot of people who, well, maybe not a lot of people, but I know people who are below this, what we had for a budget for their family's income per year. And you don't really think about it every day. But when you do have a project like this, you kind of realize, like, wow, people have to survive with less than this, let alone this. And it really brought to my attention the kind of hardships that everyday Americans go through, and it's something that we as people with the privileges and the means to help out others, we need to. We have a duty to. And I mean, I think this project has definitely opened my eyes. I don't know if it's completely changed my mind about poverty in and of itself and how you can work to get out of it. But I mean, I do definitely think that